One thing you should absolutely remember, and one thing that people mostly ignore, is the mark for flow, which is how you build your structure in CELPIP Speaking per answer type, because every answer is going to be different based on the tone. We're going to look at some examples, we're going to look at some sample sentences, and we're going to look at how we can build it step by step with this tutorial. And I have some really good examples for you, the best ones that you can use and apply for all questions. Let's start with this question. Speaking part 7, it's a debate question. It says here, should parents decide their children's careers or not? So let's say we start with our opinion, they should not decide their careers, children should decide themselves. Here is where I gotta do my first point. So how do you start? Let's build it step by step. One reason as to why kids should choose their own careers is purely due to their interest. So my idea here is, look, if you're interested in your career, you're going to do better, and that's why you should choose it. This is going to be my first sentence. This is what you guys have to learn. Do not give all the detail in the first sentence. Build it slowly. And right now in speaking, I'm pausing because there's a full stop. So I'm pausing, taking a breath for a second or half a second. My next sentence is going to be something like this. Undoubtedly, so a good connector. And now I will go into the detail. I'll give you the process and the explanation. When one is focused on his or her skill set and personal passion, chances are he or she will not only excel in the field, but will also be able to make that a long-term career. So you see how I built this. I first said the point that it's about the interest. And then I said, look, with a connector here, undoubtedly, when one is focused on this, then they will build a better career. This is how it works. So in the second sentence, in the second half of your point, this is still one point. You explain, and that is usually the longer sentence. But we're not done yet. Now I have to give it a finish, which is very short and simple. This ensures a successful and stable career. So we're doing two things here, and I'll tell you this in a second. Just remember, I got something really interesting. It's a giveaway for you if you are preparing for a CELPIP. I'll mention more details on that at the end of this video. So what are the two things I was talking about? The first thing is the structure. Step 1, step 2, step 3, colored in sequence. One is mentioning the point, not giving details. The second is giving details. And when you think of details, think of why and how, because you're going to describe a process here. The third thing is doing the conclusion, which is wrapping up the idea. But the second aim that I have here, apart from the structure and flow, is to tie it all back together with the question. So remember, the question was, should parents decide their children's careers or not? And I have said all of this, and now when I'm thinking of my conclusion, I'm saying this ensures a successful and stable career. I'm thinking, why did I say all of this in the first place? Because this ensures this, and that relates to the question, which was about parents deciding or not. So if kids decide, then it's better for their careers. And that answers the question why kids should decide this. I'm going to do the same thing in the next point and the same thing in the next point, and that is how you explain points and build that flow with questions like this, part 7. But again, every question is different. So what if you are faced with part 5? And imagine you have the two pictures on your screen, you're choosing between a car or a bike, and you're given the points about the car, about the bike. We're just imagining that. Now let's build this kind of answer. This is going to be a little different. So here you would start with something like, after your introduction, you're talking about the points. You start with a word that could compare two different things. While the car provides you with convenience and comfort. So we're talking about the points of the car. We talk about that one side. Then we compare it with the other point. It completely pales in the cost area when compared with the bike, since the bike has virtually zero expenses. So these are the points that are usually taken from that picture in part 5, but how we're supposed to arrange them is important. While this is one side and then the other side. You can also use a lot of combinations here, not only this, but also this. And firstly, it does this, but it also does this. So there's many ways to express this. Instead of while, you can also say whereas. When you say whereas in the middle of the sentence, you could say although, you can say however. Many ways to express this, but why are we doing this? Because see how many things I'm able to say in just one sentence? I'm talking about the car and the bike and using multiple points, and I gotta do this because in part 5 you have to compare so many things within 60 seconds. So you have to find creative ways to summarize the information, and these kinds of sentences do that for you, plus they give you marks for complex sentences because they are long. Now we're still not done. The next thing we got to do here is go to the next point, and here you don't need conclusions. You don't need to say hence, therefore, overall, because this one, as I said, is a fast-paced answer. So you do small comparisons, then move to the next one. So in this case, I would do something like plus, let's not ignore the, and then the other points. Let's not ignore the benefit that we have with the bike here, but the car does not have this, and go on with that. This is how part 5 is supposed to have that flow. Let's talk about part 3 though, because that is again a different question type, describing a picture. So assume you have a picture, you have some people doing some stuff, you have to describe them. There are many mistakes here that students make, so I'll describe the answer, but I'll also show you how to eliminate those mistakes. Number 1, we're going to start with, let's say we're talking about a person on the side. So we say the person standing on the right-hand side, talking about directions. Obviously, there's many ways to say this: in the foreground, in the background, on the right, in the center, towards the back, wherever this person is. So that's simple. You start with that. Okay, so that's the first idea. Point out who the person is, where he or she is. Now, we're gonna express adjectives. So when I was saying people miss this, I'm talking about qualities or descriptions. Mostly people just mention the verbs. This guy is doing this, this gal is doing this, and you miss this crucial part. It's not only good for the flow, it's good for your description and task response and vocabulary. So mention the qualities. So he or she looks highly suspicious. Good. Now, what is he or she doing that is making him suspicious? As he is staring right inside the bag of the lady while the lady is distracted. Okay, so this is the location of the person, this is the adjective, the quality, and this is the action. 3 things that define one part of the picture. And you can mix these up. You can do the verb, like the action first, and then the quality, but at least make sure both of those elements are in there. The next thing would be how you go from this to the next point. So here what I'm doing is, however, he might not make a move considering the amount of people around him who are doing this. And this is how I go from him to the other people. This is my lead into the other people. Now, I could also do something very simple and plain, like also on the left-hand side, the other people are doing this. But that is very basic. Sure, you can do 1 or 2 sentences like that, but you will get a lot more marks if you connect one person to the other, and that is how you move to the next person. That is a wonderful way to do the flow. It keeps everything structured and connected and organized and keeps you unique and advanced. Now, at the end, I'm going to tell you what I was mentioning earlier. If you subscribe and like, you will be entering our giveaway. All you got to do is comment down below, subscribe and like. We'll pick lucky winners. You'll be selected to gain access to our free mock tests platform with the exam simulator at 0 cost. So comment down below, like the video, we'll select lucky winners, and I'll see you in the next video.